Hey guys, do you want to rediscover the magic of the vintage sound? In a world dominated by sleek digital devices, we invite you on a journey back in time, where music was an experience. Say hello to the retro NAD C3050 amplifier and the vintage Vestlyd wood finish speakers behind me. Let me show you how cool it is and why it's still relevant in the 21st century. While small and sleek devices are on the forefront of technology, vintage style products are back on the rise. And with the new retro-styled NAD C3050 stereo amp and the Vestlyd speaker in the oak finish, we want to show you that you can get the vintage experience without making any cutback on sound quality, features and of course, vintage style. Let's start with the NAD C3050. It takes its visual inspiration from one of the classical amps that NAD produced in the 70s, the 3030 to be exact. That means you get the wood looks chassis, lots of dials and buttons for various settings, and of course the backlit VU meters that bounce to the output of music. Even people who value modern style products can't deny the mesmerizing effects. A nice little touch is the old school branding NAD puts on the front that was also used back in the 70s. New acoustic dimension. You can understand that name as a rather bold statement. Does it actually hold up? The interesting thing about the 3050 is that NAD chooses to use the best features of today, with some of the nice things of yesteryear. Vintage amps often get hot and tend to output noisy and distorted sound when they are pushed with challenging speakers. Not so with the 3050 that manages to output around 100 watts. And it can do it with minimal distortion. That also means it is way more energy efficient than old school amps. It does that for two sets of speakers that you can select via the A/B switch on the front. It also has a sub-out and bridged in and output section, in case you want to use the amp as either a preamp or power amp. Of course you can use it with either a wired or wireless headphones. It has two inputs for analog sources such as record players or tape decks. Are you stuck with only analog sources as with usual vintage amps? No, on the contrary, you have a wide array of digital inputs such as optical, coax and even HDMI for your TV. Now comes my favorite feature of the amp, the so-called MDC2 slot that can be used to add features and functionality. Most people will use it for the Blue OS module that adds multi-room, high-res streaming for a wide range of streaming services, AirPlay and such much more through the Blue sound system. To top it all off, it also includes direct room correction for all sources, so you can have the best sound from your speakers, even if your room or speaker placement is not optimal. For this video we are pairing this high-tech amp with its low-tech looks with another vintage style product. These are the Vestlyd V15C. And although they might look like something you might have seen back in the days, they were recently developed from the ground up by Nordic Hi-Fi in Denmark. You mostly get their compact speakers or slim and high floor standing speakers with multiple drivers. These beauties here take the vintage formula of using one big woofer and put it in a bigger box. It's for producing the same, if not a higher amount of bass. The bass is good. Some of you may ask where the tweeter is. Well, that is a very good question. It is situated right in the middle. It's called a coaxial design. It offers a very homogeneous sound as bass and treble come from the same spot. Without getting too nerdy for you guys out there, I can assure you that they put a lot of high-tech material into the little big box. The interesting thing is, the woofer is designed as a waveguide to provide a wide and even sound for the tweeter. And this is like a good hi-fi speaker should work. It calls itself a power monitor though. And why is that? A power monitor aims to combine the ease of listening to hi-fi speakers, the undistorted sound of studio monitor at the volume of PA systems. It's easy to drive even with smaller amplifiers. But it really shines when you use powerful amps where it can play absurdly loud without ever sounding stressful and distorted. It is also built like a tank, weighs like a ton, and also comes in a black vinyl look that you also know from guitar amps. But enough tech specs, how does this combination sound? Well, we wouldn't be talking about it if it wasn't good. I have heard way more expensive amps on the Vestlyds that may have brought more details or more power, but the 3050 has some kind of magic that I can't explain. It's kind of a warm sound without being over bloated or over colored, and it's powerful and precise without getting sharp, and nicely controls that larger-than-life soundstage that the Vestlyds are bringing to the table. What is amazing about this combination is that you turn the music up more and more without actually realizing how insanely loud you have gotten. This is a testament to the speaker's ability to stay balanced and undistorted no matter the loudness, as well as the amp who has to power this madness. With all the talk about how loud and powerful they get, the first instinct is to play loud and powerful music like heavy metal, techno or hip hop. The bass punches you right away in your stomach and your head begins to bob. But the more surprising quality of these speakers is, well, the quality. Music like jazz, blues or acoustical music that often has an intimate recording is projected in front of you in a real-life-like fashion. I know that lots of speakers, and a lot of them are way more pricey, bring more details to the table. But the Vestlyd supported by the NAD makes the music feel alive. It's hard to put it into words, so just go to your next hi-fi club and try it out. Give this combination a listen, but don't blame me, it's very addictive. What other options are there, especially if you look at modern designs? The C700 from NAD and the Dali Oberon 7 are in the same price range, but they cater to a different audience. Sleek, modern, minimalistic, with a little northern touch on the design. Without going into technical detail, this setup sounds very nice, but it lacks the live concert feeling that the Vestlyd setup is conveying. Its qualities sit more in a structured soundscape that puts more emphasis in detail and precision. Don't get me wrong, you can definitely get loud and have some great bass, but you won't have the Vestlyd feeling with the live concert. To be honest, it feels like a small concert venue. It is probably the setup that works more in a rental flat. If you listen to the Vestlyd setup, make sure to listen to this one too. Me personally, I thought I was more of a sleek digital kind of guy. But to be honest, spending so much time with this setup and listening to it, I have to change my mind quite a bit. And actually I have to overthink what I really like. This setup compares you with a feeling of warmth, scale and liveliness. Okay, and contrary to my expectations, these speakers also work with intimate music and not only with loud bass music. Maybe it's a weird analogy, but this setup feels like a comfortable lounge chair after a long day of work. I know there are systems out there that have more precision and more details, but what they also have is a higher price and they don't have this vintage charm. From a technical standpoint, I don't miss any features. And like I said, I don't even miss the power. The amp offers all necessary inputs for analog and digital devices. And it even supports TVs and streaming. What do you want more? In another weird analogy, the 3050 would be a very great friend of the Vestlyd. Their design may be unconventional, but the sound is far more than what you would expect from the price point. If I have to summarize this setup, it has the charm of vintage systems with modern technology. Thanks for watching!